The Atlantic hurricane season of 2008 was the first such year to feature a major hurricane in every month from July to November. The timeline includes information that was not operationally released, meaning that data from post-storm reviews by the National Hurricane Center, such as information about a storm that was not operationally warned on, has been included. Although Tropical Storm Arthur formed on May 30, 2008, the season officially began on June 1 and ended on November 30, dates that conventionally delimit the period of each year when most tropical cyclones develop in the Atlantic basin. The season's final storm, Hurricane Paloma, dissipated on November 10. The 2008 Atlantic hurricane season was the fourth most active season in recorded history, and featured slightly more activity than that of the previous year. Pre-season forecasts noted a high possibility for an above-average number of tropical cyclones, primarily due to lingering La Niña plus-or-minus effects and abnormally warm sea surface temperatures across the Atlantic basin. 17 tropical cyclones were observed during the season, of which 16 intensified into tropical storms, 8 became hurricanes, and 5 became major hurricanes. With the exception of Tropical Storm Niña, every tropical cyclone during the season affected land to an extent. Timeline of events May 31, 0000 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Arthur develops from an area of low pressure roughly 45 miles east of Belize City, Belize. 0600 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Arthur attains its peak intensity with winds of 45 miles per hour and a barometric pressure of 1004 millibars. 0900 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Arthur makes landfall in northeastern Belize, about midway between Belize City and Chetumal, Mexico, with winds of 45 miles per hour. June 1, the 2008 Atlantic hurricane season officially begins. 1200 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Arthur weakens to a tropical depression over the Yucatan, roughly 15 miles north of the northern border of Guatemala and Mexico. June 2, 0000 UTC. A Euro-tropical depression Arthur degenerates into a non-convective remnant low-pressure area. July 3, 0600 UTC. A Euro-tropical depression 2 develops from a tropical wave roughly 220 miles south-southeast of the Cape Verde Islands. 1200 UTC. A Euro-tropical depression 2 strengthens into Tropical Storm Bertha to the south of the Cape Verde Islands. July 7, 0600 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Bertha strengthens into a Category 1 hurricane on the Saffir-Euro-Simpson hurricane scale, the first of the season, roughly 750 miles east of the northern Leeward Islands. 1800 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Bertha rapidly strengthens into a major hurricane. A storm with winds of 111 miles per hour or higher. 2100 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Bertha attains its peak intensity with winds of 125 miles per hour and a minimum barometric pressure of 951 millibars. July 8, 1200 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Bertha weakens to a Category 2 hurricane. 1800 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Bertha weakens to a Category 1 hurricane. July 9, 1800 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Bertha strengthens into a Category 2 hurricane. July 10, 0600 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Bertha weakens to a Category 1 hurricane. July 13, 1200 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Bertha weakens to a tropical storm. July 18, 1800 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Bertha strengthens into a Category 1 hurricane for a second time. July 19, 0000 UTC. A Euro-tropical depression 3 develops from an area of low pressure roughly 60 miles per hour east of the Georgia-South Carolina border. 1200 UTC. A Euro-tropical depression 3 strengthens into Tropical Storm Cristobal off the coast of South Carolina. July 20, 0000 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Bertha weakens into a tropical storm once again. 1200 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Bertha transitions into an extratropical cyclone. 1200 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Dolly develops from a tropical wave 270 miles east of Chetumal, Mexico. July 21, 0530 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Dolly makes landfall near Cancun, Mexico with winds of 50 miles per hour. July 22, 1200 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Cristobal reaches its peak intensity with winds of 65 miles per hour and a minimum barometric pressure of 998 millibars. July 23, 0000 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Dolly intensifies into a Category 1 hurricane. 1200 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Cristobal is absorbed by a larger extratropical cyclone. 1400 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Dolly strengthens into a Category 2 hurricane and reaches its peak intensity with winds of 100 miles per hour and a minimum barometric pressure of 963 millibars off the coast of Texas. 1820 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Dolly makes landfall on the Texas mainland, about 15 miles southeast of Port Mansfield, Texas, with winds of 85 miles per hour. 2000 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Dolly makes landfall on the Texas mainland, roughly 10 miles south of Port Mansfield, Texas, with winds of 80 miles per hour. July 24, 0600 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Dolly weakens to a tropical storm. July 25, 0000 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Dolly weakens to a tropical depression over extreme northern Mexico. July 26, 0000 UTC. A Euro-tropical depression Dolly degenerates into a non-convective remnant low-pressure area over the mountainous terrain of inland Mexico. August 3, 1200 UTC. A Euro-tropical depression 5 develops from an area of low pressure roughly 140 miles south of Pensacola, Florida. August 4, 0000 UTC. A Euro-tropical depression 5 strengthens into Tropical Storm Edouard to the southeast of Louisiana. August 5, 1200 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Edouard reaches its peak intensity with winds of 65 miles per hour and a minimum barometric pressure of 996 millibars. At this time, Edouard also makes landfall at McFadden National Wildlife Refuge, Texas. August 6, 0000 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Edouard weakens to a tropical depression over inland Texas. 0600 UTC. A Euro-tropical depression Edouard degenerates into a non-convective remnant low-pressure area over northern Texas. 1200 UTC. A Euro-tropical depression develops just west of the northwestern tip of Puerto Rico. 1430 UTC. A Euro. The tropical depression near Puerto Rico strengthens into Tropical Storm Faye and makes landfall near El Cabo, Dominican Republic with winds of 40 miles per hour. August 16, 1145 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Faye makes landfall along eastern Gonava Copyright Island, Haiti with winds of 45 miles per hour. August 17, 0900 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Faye makes landfall 20 miles east of Cabo Cruz, Cuba with winds of 45 miles per hour. August 18, 0700 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm makes landfall 20 miles west of Cienfuegos, Cuba with winds of 45 miles per hour. 2030 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Faye makes its first landfall on Florida, near Key West, with winds of 60 miles per hour. August 19, 0845 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Faye makes its second landfall on Florida, just east of Cape Romano, with winds of 65 miles per hour. 1800 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Faye reaches its peak intensity with winds of 70 miles per hour and a minimum barometric pressure of 986 millibars. August 21, 1900 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Faye makes its third landfall on Florida, near Flagler Beach, with winds of 65 miles per hour. August 23, 0615 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Faye makes a record-breaking fourth landfall on Florida, just southwest of Caribou, with winds of 50 miles per hour. August 24, 0000 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Faye weakens to a tropical depression. August 25, 0000 UTC. A Euro-tropical depression 7 forms from a tropical wave roughly 95 miles northeast of Bonaire. 1200 UTC. A Euro-tropical depression 7 rapidly intensifies into Tropical Storm Gustav. August 26, 0600 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Gustav strengthens into a Category 1 hurricane. 1800 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Gustave makes landfall on the southwestern peninsula of Haiti with winds of 80 miles per hour. 0000 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Gustave weakens to a tropical storm over the southwestern peninsula of Haiti. 0600 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Faye merges with a larger extratropical cyclone. August 28, 0000 UTC. A Euro Tropical Depression 8 forms from an area of low pressure roughly 275 miles east-northwest of the northern Leeward Islands. 1200 UTC. A Euro Tropical Depression 8 strengthens into Tropical Storm Hannah. 1800 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Gustave makes landfall near Montchanel, Jamaica with winds of 70 miles per hour. August 29, 0200 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Gustave makes landfall just east of Lioneltown, Jamaica with winds of 70 miles per hour. 1800 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Gustave strengthens into a hurricane. August 30, 1800 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Gustave makes landfall on the southeastern coast of the Isle of Youth, Cuba with winds of 145 miles per hour. 2200 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Gustave reaches its peak intensity with winds of 155 miles per hour and a minimum barometric pressure of 941 millibars. Additionally, Gustave makes landfall just east of Los Palacios, Cuba at this intensity. September September 1st. 0600 UTC. A Euro Tropical Depression 9 forms from a tropical wave roughly 675 miles west of the Cape Verde Islands. 1200 UTC. A Euro Tropical Depression 9 strengthens into Tropical Storm Ike. 1500 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Gustave makes landfall near Cocodrie, Louisiana with winds of 100 miles per hour. 1800 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Hannah strengthens into a Category 1 hurricane north of the Dominican Republic. September 2, 0000 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Gustave weakens to a tropical storm over southwestern Louisiana. 0000 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Hannah reaches its peak intensity with winds of 85 miles per hour and a minimum barometric pressure of 977 millibars. Additionally, the system makes landfall near Providential's Island, Cayagos Islands at this intensity. 0000 UTC. A Euro Tropical Depression 10 forms from a tropical wave roughly 275 miles south-southeast of Sal, Cape Verde Islands. 0600 UTC. A Euro Tropical Depression 10 strengthens into Tropical Storm Josephine. 1200 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Gustave weakens to a tropical depression. 1200 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Hannah weakens to a tropical storm. September 3, 0600 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Josephine reaches its peak intensity with winds of 65 miles per hour and a minimum barometric pressure of 994 millibars. 1800 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Ike strengthens into a Category 1 hurricane roughly 600 miles east-northwest of the northern Leeward Islands. 1900 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Hannah makes landfall near Middle Cayagos Island with winds of 60 miles per hour. September 4, 0000 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Ike rapidly strengthens into a Category 3 hurricane. 0600 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Ike reaches its peak intensity with winds of 145 miles per hour and a minimum barometric pressure of 935 millibars. 1200 UTC. A Euro Tropical Depression Gustave transitions into an extratropical cyclone over Missouri. September 5, 1200 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Ike weakens to a Category 3 hurricane. September 6, 0000 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Josephine weakens to a tropical depression. 0600 UTC. A Euro Tropical Depression Josephine degenerates into a non-convective remnant low-pressure area. 0720 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Hannah makes landfall near the North Carolina-South Carolina border with winds of 70 miles per hour. 1200 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Ike weakens to a Category 2 hurricane. 1800 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Ike rapidly strengthens to a Category 4 hurricane. September 7, 0600 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Hannah transitions into an extratropical cyclone. 1200 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Ike weakens to a Category 3 hurricane. 1300 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Ike makes landfall on Great Inagua Island, Bahamas with winds of 125 miles per hour. September 8. 0000 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Ike re-strengthens to a Category 4 hurricane. 0215 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Ike makes landfall near Cabo Lucrecia, Cuba with winds of 135 miles per hour. 0600 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Ike weakens to a Category 3 hurricane. 1200 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Ike weakens to a Category 2 hurricane. 1800 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Ike weakens to a Category 1 hurricane. September 9. 1400 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Ike makes landfall near Punta La Capitana, Cuba with winds of 80 miles per hour. September 10. 1800 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Ike re-strengthens into a Category 2 hurricane. September 13. 0700 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Ike makes landfall at the north end of Galveston Island, Texas with winds of 110 miles per hour. 1800 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Ike rapidly weakens to a tropical storm. September 14. 1200 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Ike transitions into an extratropical cyclone. September 25. 0000 UTC. A Euro A tropical depression forms from a tropical wave about 100 miles north of the Dominican Republic. 0600 UTC. A Euro The tropical depression north of the Dominican Republic strengthens into Tropical Storm Kyle. September 27. 1200 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Kyle strengthens into a Category 1 hurricane roughly 300 miles west of Bermuda. September 28. 1200 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Kyle reaches its maximum intensity with winds of 85 miles per hour. 1800 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Kyle reaches its minimum barometric pressure of 984 millibars. September 29. 0000 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Kyle makes landfall near Yarmouth, Nova Scotia with winds of 75 miles per hour. 0600 UTC. A Euro Hurricane Kyle weakens to a tropical storm and transitions into an extratropical cyclone. 0600 UTC. A Euro Subtropical Laura forms from an extratropical low-pressure area roughly 650 miles south-southeast of Cape Race, Newfoundland. September 30. 1200 UTC. A Euro Subtropical Storm Laura transitions into a tropical storm. 1800 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Laura reaches its minimum barometric pressure of 994 millibars. October 1. 1200 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Laura degenerates into a non-convective remnant low-pressure area. October 6. 0000 UTC. A Euro Tropical Depression 13 forms from an area of low pressure over Terminos Lagoon, Campeche. 1200 UTC. A Euro Tropical Depression 13 strengthens into Tropical Storm Marco roughly 60 miles northeast of Coatzacoalcos, Mexico. October 7. 0000 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Marco reaches its peak intensity of 65 miles per hour and a minimum barometric pressure of 998 millibars. 1200 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Marco makes landfall east of Misantla, Veracruz with winds of 65 miles per hour. 1800 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Marco weakens to a tropical depression. October 8. 0000 UTC. A Euro Tropical Depression Marco dissipates over the mountainous terrain of inland Mexico. October 12. 0600 UTC. A Euro A tropical depression forms from an area of low pressure roughly 690 miles west of the Cape Verde Islands. 1200 UTC. A Euro The tropical depression west of the Cape Verde Islands strengthens into Tropical Storm Nana. October 13. 0000 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Nana reaches its peak intensity of 40 miles per hour and a barometric pressure of 1004 millibars. 0600 UTC. A Euro Tropical Depression 15 forms from an area of low pressure roughly 165 miles south of the southeastern tip of Dominican Republic. 1200 UTC. A Euro Tropical Storm Nana weakens to a tropical depression roughly 870 miles west of the Cape Verde Islands. October 14. UTC. A Euro-tropical depression 15 strengthens into tropical storm Omar roughly 125 miles north-northeast of Aruba. 1200 UTC. A Euro-tropical depression Nana degenerates into a non-convective remnant low-pressure area in the central Atlantic. 1200 UTC. A Euro-tropical depression 16 forms from a tropical wave roughly 45 miles northeast of the coast of the Nicaragua-Honduras border. At this time, the depression also reaches its peak intensity of 30 miles per hour and a minimum barometric pressure of 1004 millibars. 1230 UTC. A Euro-tropical depression 16 makes landfall just west of Punta Pituca, Honduras with winds of 30 miles per hour. October 15. 0000 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Omar strengthens into a Category 1 hurricane. October 16. 0000 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Omar strengthens into a Category 2 hurricane. 0000 UTC. A Euro-tropical depression 16 degenerates into a non-convective remnant low-pressure area over the mountainous terrain of east-central Honduras. 0600 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Omar rapidly strengthens into a Category 4 hurricane. At this time, Omar also reaches its peak intensity with winds of 135 miles per hour and a minimum barometric pressure of 958 millibars. 1200 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Omar weakens to a Category 2 hurricane. 1800 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Omar weakens to a Category 1 hurricane. October 18. 0000 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Omar weakens to a tropical storm. 1200 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Omar degenerates into a non-convective remnant low-pressure area. November 5, 1800 UTC. A Euro-tropical depression 17 develops in the southwestern Caribbean Sea roughly 115 miles southeast of the Nicaragua-Honduras border. November 6. 0600 UTC. A Euro-tropical depression 17 strengthens into tropical storm Paloma roughly 60 miles east of the Nicaragua-Honduras border. November 7. 0000 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Paloma rapidly intensifies into a Category 1 hurricane. November 8. 0000 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Paloma strengthens into a Category 3 hurricane. 1200 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Paloma strengthens into a Category 4 hurricane and attains its peak intensity with winds of 145 miles per hour and a minimum barometric pressure of 944 millibars. 2300 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Paloma rapidly weakens into a Category 2 hurricane and makes landfall in Cuba with winds of 110 miles per hour. November 9. 0100 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Paloma makes landfall near Santa Cruz del Sur, Camagüey 1/4 I, Cuba with winds of 100 miles per hour. 0600 UTC. A Euro-hurricane Paloma weakens to a tropical storm over Cuba. 1800 UTC. A Euro-tropical storm Paloma weakens to a tropical depression. November 10. 0000 UTC. A Euro-tropical depression Paloma degenerates into a non-convective remnant low-pressure area over Cuba. November 30. The 2008 Atlantic hurricane season officially ends. See also: List of Atlantic hurricanes, timeline of the 2008 Pacific hurricane season. Notes. References. External links: the NCEI's 2008 Annual Tropical Cyclones Report, the NHC's 2008 Tropical Cyclone Advisory Archive,